for other things. We can't keep on giving these huge procurement contracts to defense industries that end up being 50, 60, 100% over budget. Very good for contractors, not so good for taxpayers. So we've got to institute reforms, and we've already identified potentially pulling $40 billion out annually in savings on procurement. You know, those are the kinds of things, those are the kinds of steps that we need to take, and we are going to go through this budget line by line, and some of these choices may be difficult. I won't lie to you, we can't keep on just printing money and saying we'll let our children worry about it. But we have to do it in a way that right now focuses on just getting people back on their feet, getting the economy running again, and then we're going to have to make some difficult choices, especially over some of these longer-term entitlements like Social Security and Medicare. All right. This young lady right here. Hold on a second. We've got a mic right here, right in front. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. President.
Hello.
My name is Joan Earhart, and I'm a community bank SBA lender, and I'm proud to have been one for 20 years. We're very, very excited about the stimulus package, and we are going to do everything we can to get the money out there, including financing the construction projects that you're talking about. However, as a lender and as a bank, we have a problem that I feel needs to be addressed. When we make loans that are less than the normal quality, even with the SBA guarantee, the regulators tend to criticize us. And when they criticize us, they make us set aside reserves as if the loan is going to be bad, and that eats into our capital. That's part of the problem that the banks are having right now, why they need the TARP money. Not all banks are bad banks, as you know, and as a community bank that's been around for 85 years, we haven't even taken TARP money. We want to make SBA loans, but we don't want to get our hands slapped by the regulators when we try to help these people. And last year is going to be a less than stellar tax return for everybody that's had a problem that is going to come to the SBA for help. Will you be able to speak with the regulators and set some kind of new bar so that we won't be criticized and we can actually go out and loan this money that we want to?
Well, you make a terrific point. This is an excellent point. Let me say a couple of things on this. First of all, just so everybody caught the issue here, there are a lot of community banks, smaller banks, local banks that did not act irresponsibly. They weren't involved in, buying some of these weird financial instruments that didn't work. They're not paying out $100 million bonuses. You don't look like you got a $5 million bonus. You wish, right? They're working with local businesses, small contractors. They take in deposits. They do what banks are supposed to do. They're still having some problems, local community banks, and they're having problems in two areas. Number one is a lot of these community banks give small business administration loans, SBA loans, that are guaranteed by the federal government. But the problem is that historically what they've done is they get the loans, and then they sell them on what's called the secondary market. They sell them to other parties who invest in these loans. The problem is all these secondary markets have all frozen up right now because everybody's so nervous about all these losses that have been happening on Wall Street. So we just announced this week a program that will allow the Treasury Department to buy these loans directly from the community bank. So if you've got $5 million worth of loans, SBA loans already on the books, you can sell them to Treasury. That will then mean that you'll have $5 million that you can now put back to work providing loans without worrying about your capital. So you should find out. This is on our website, the White House website. It will tell you about this program. Now, you're right, though, we still have a problem that a lot of small businesses are seeing their credit lines restricted, and part of that has to do with the issue you're talking about, which is regulators may be saying to banks, look, we're worried about all these losses, so pull back on what you consider riskier loans. Well, if you've if you've got a credit line to a small business and they're seeing some of their business dry up right now, then you might be saying to yourself, maybe I can't continue that credit line. We don't have direct authority, the White House does not have direct authority over these regulators. These regulators are supposed to be somewhat independent from politics. But we have had conversations to note that during a difficult period like this, we want to make sure that the bottom line is ultimately that liquidity and lending is going out the door, and I think that we're going to be having broader conversations with the community banks to figure out how can we take even further steps to help them be in a position to help small businesses and individuals who depend so much on banks like yours. Okay? All right, this young man right here. This young man right here has been... Okay. See, I'll admit that part of the reason since I'm getting old and it's hard to see you guys back there. Go ahead.
My name is Ike Martinez. I wanted to ask you, what do you plan to do on immigration, the broken system they have, and when do you plan to...
I just met with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus today, which Congresswoman Sanchez is a member of, to talk about this issue directly. As many of you know, during the campaign, I was asked repeatedly about this, and I reiterated my belief that we have to have comprehensive immigration reform. I know this is an emotional issue, I know it's a controversial issue, I know that the people get real riled up politically about this, but ultimately, here's what I believe. We are a nation of immigrants, number one. Number two, we do have to have control of our borders. Number three, that people who have been here for a long time and put down roots here have to have some mechanism over time to get out of the shadows, because if they stay in the shadows, in the underground economy, then they are oftentimes pitted against American workers, since they can't join a union, they can't complain about minimum wages, etc. They end up being abused, and that depresses the wages of everybody, all Americans. So I don't think that we can do this piecemeal. I think what we have to do is to come together and say, we're going to strengthen our borders. And I'm going to be going to Mexico. I'm going to be working with President Calderon in Mexico to figure out how do we get control over the border that's become more violent because of the drug trade. We have to combine that with cracking down on employers who are exploiting undocumented workers. We have to make sure that there is a verification system to find out whether somebody is legally able to work here or not. But we have to make sure that that verification system does not discriminate just because you've got a Hispanic last name or your last name's Obama. And then you've got to say to the undocumented workers, you have to say, look, you've broken the law. You didn't come here the way you were supposed to. So, this is not going to be a free ride. It's not going to be some instant amnesty. What's going to happen is you are going to pay a significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But after you've done these things over a certain period of time, you can earn your citizenship. So that it's not something that is guaranteed or automatic. You've got to earn it.